Hello lovelies, how are you all doing today? I hope you're well. I am. I'm actually loving today because if I lean back you'll see why. Sunshine! Oh my goodness. We haven't had sunshine like this for days. It's going to disappear quickly because it's about 2 o'clock already, but wow, what a difference it makes. In terms of temperature in the flat, it's still really cold outside. I'll talk about by the time you see this. So last night was a real cold one. I think we were down sort of -4, but feels like -7 or something. So much so, for the first time ever in my entire life, I had my duvet and my quilt on the top. It was so snug. By about 3-4 o'clock this morning now, I was hot enough to toss that quilt off. Yeah, so it's still really cold outside. Like I said, it was I think it was about -4 at 9 o'clock this morning outside. In here, it was 9 degrees. But with that sunshine, I've just checked the thermometer again. It's 15 degrees in here today. It's tropical, oh my goodness. So I've got I've got my thermals on still, of course. It's a delight. Also, because I was out this morning shopping, that's coming now, it was cold out there. So when I came home, I've had a hot bath, which is why, the hair's still damp, and my cheeks are probably really pink from the bath, aren't they? But it occurred to me a little while back, and I'm having some honey and lemon. That's a really sharp lemon. It occurred to me a few days ago with my bathing. Normally I would have a bath at night, but that kind of seems like a wasted warming opportunity because after the bath I pretty much go straight to bed, and I'm always warm in bed, actually hot sometimes. So yeah, I've changed it around a bit, and now I'm having my bath at some point in the day. When I think, when I came back from the garden that frosty morning, had a bath then. Today I've come back from I've been at the post office, running a few errands, and then I've done the next part of some of the next part of the food bank shop. I got home and I felt really properly cold, so I thought, you know what, I'll have my bath now. And it's done the trick. It's warmed me up brilliantly. I mean, I've still got a lot of layers on, bit of sunshine, great. Hoodie and blanket just there in case I start to cool down too much as we're chatting. So, yes, I've done the second part of my food bank shop. And as I was mentioning in the previous one, instead of doing £10 toys, £10 food, couldn't find a toy drive. Excuse me, just adjusting my slipper. So I've done 20 quid on food. Now, I did do a dry run, as it were, a week or so ago. It might be even 2 weeks ago now, when I had the idea. I just wanted to get an idea of what's out there, what can I get, and naturally my first port of call was Lidl, because that's what I've got apart from Tesco's and Sainsbury's. Lidl is the main supermarket here, and it's always cheap. So I had a look there, and there are a couple of things I wanted. I thought, oh, they don't have them, or oh, they've got it. Oh, that's surprisingly expensive. So I went to all my other supermarkets too, just to compare prices, see what they've got. Basically, I was kind of comparing prices like I would for myself. Where can I get this item for the cheapest? So generally speaking, pretty much everything bar 2 things, it was cheaper in Lidl. Now, the other, I should just say as well, for anyone overseas watching, I know people often comment, say, oh my goodness, your food is so cheap in the UK. Don't forget, I'm showing you food from Lidl, which is the cheapest of cheap supermarkets. And a few of the things I've bought today are from Lidl's own Simple range, which are even cheaper. This is absolute bargain basement food shopping. with some of them I can't attest to the quality because it's not things I buy and eat normally. I will say though that the things that I do get in Lidl, I use Lidl for cheese and crumpets are my new addiction. Cheese on crumpets, so gorgeous. They're really cheap there, but I don't see any compromise in the quality. So yeah, just bear that in mind that I'm buying the cheapest of cheap because I want to buy as much food as I can for 20 quid. But it did occur to me, having done this today, that in future, I mean, I'm never going to be able to afford to do it. Well, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to afford to do a £40 food bank shop again. But when I'm doing my sort of £1 or £2 at the end of my shop, in my weekly shop, it did occur to me that maybe sometimes to not put in the cheapest of the cheap, but put in something that is a bit more expensive. So for example, what's an example? Okay, there's a pasta sauce in here that was 39p, which is crazy. It's crazily cheap. But maybe when if you're using a food bank, do you always want to be being offered this really cheap stuff? Is it going to make you feel cheap? I don't know. It just made me think that maybe for future food bank donations, that to maybe put in things sometimes that are a bit more expensive, a bit higher quality. Anyway, so yeah, I did this dry run, and initially, and I'm going to talk through this because I think it might be useful for any of you who either are going to do this sort of shop for yourself or to do it for someone else. I got my knickers in a bit of a twist because I was sort of going about it the wrong way. The way I was going about it was I was picturing myself doing a £20 food shop for me and my family for a week of eating. And I was getting really upset going around because I was just thinking, how on earth can I make a week of healthy, balanced meals? I mean, you might have slightly more protein one day, slightly more carbs another day, slightly more vitamin C on this day, however, but over the week, we balance our meals, don't we? And I was just thinking, this is kind of impossible because I can't buy any fresh produce. They don't take fresh produce where I'm dropping these off. They don't take any chilled produce. So that's all your dairy and eggs and things like that, and milk. So it's quite limited. This is store cupboard food shopping. It's tins and jars and packets, dried stuff. So it is kind of a bit harder to, and then I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, you're not trying to buy a whole week's shop for one family. You're buying for a food bank. They do have other stuff there. They do get the fresh stuff given to them by supermarkets at the end of the day. So actually, yeah, that freed it up a bit. I'm looking for tins and jars, long shelf life stuff. But the other thing I was bearing in mind as I was going around was I wanted to find things which are very minimal cooking. So for instance, that is really sharp. So for instance, instead of buying, say, a tin of tomatoes and other ingredients to make a pasta sauce, buy the pasta sauce ready-made that can just be stirred through the pasta. So the heat of the pasta, chuck the sauce on, stir it through, so you're not cooking a pasta sauce as well as your pasta, if that makes sense. It does make sense, doesn't it? So yeah, minimal cooking. So I think I've got one thing in here which you can do in a microwave. But yeah, otherwise it's stovetop quick cooking, bearing in mind that, if you've got a prepayment meter and you've put, you've got 25 quid to put on your prepayment meter that week, you don't want to be using it all up on cooking. You want most of it for the heating. And that's what I was saying the other day about the whole reason for doing this is let's fill up our food bank so people don't have to spend money on food. They can spend it on their heating instead. Right. I'd made some notes because I didn't want to forget things I wanted to say. Yeah. So I kind of got my head straight. And I think the final thing to say is, yeah, I mean, I'm doing this at Christmas because I emptied my Christmas penny jar. But of course, you know, food banks aren't just for Christmas. So if we can, you know, as part of your weekly shop, and I know things are tight for everybody, but even a tin of something that's 50p, if you're spending £10 a week on your weekly food shop, if you can make it £10.50, that's only 5% more. I know. Look, you do what you can. We all do what we can. So anyway, what did I manage to get? So I should say, I went, in the end, I'm just bending down for receipts. I've gone to 2 different supermarkets. I've used Lidl mostly, and I've gone to Tesco. The total came to £20.56. Now, I've done these on 2 separate days as well, because when I took the personal hygiene and treats stuff to the food bank, I was going to get all this food from Lidl, and I thought I was knackered. But on my way home, I did pick up the bits from Tesco because it was only a small amount, and then I've done the Lidl stuff today. But again, just to just to say that £20.56. I knew in Lidl I was going to be slightly I thought in my head I was somewhere around the £19.80 mark in the shopping. And I thought, let's just chuck one more thing in. We'll go over, I don't mind. So it's £20.56. I've gone 56p over. What's crazy is one of these items is 56p. So I could have put it back, but I'm not, or I didn't, because this particular 56p item, and I know that a ton of you who are parents will know that is, that's a genius thing to add, because when kids are in that fussy, picky phase between, you know, the ages of sort of 3 and 6, the addition of this thing, they'll eat anything. So it stayed in. So yeah, I've gone over, but let me show you. So £17.71 at Lidl, £2, what was it? £2.85 Tesco. I just did the maths up there for you. There we go. So clear, evidencing it. Honestly, the things I have to do to shut the trolls up. Okay, so I'll start with that Tesco bit. I need the receipts, don't I, to tell you how much things were. The reason I went to Tesco's is because Lidl don't sell... sorry, a bit awkward. Lidl don't sell tinned baby carrots. Are you a bit far? Shall I pull you a bit close? Hold on, you seem a bit far away suddenly. Hold on. This is going to start going a bit wonky, isn't it? That's better. Yeah. Baby carrots in water. Lidl don't sell them. Amazingly, Tesco sell them at 50p a tin. So 3 tins of those for £1.50. Also from Tesco. Now, Lidl do sell this. This is mixed veg. It's 45p a tin. Because I wanted to get carrots in there. So this is it's chopped and chunky. I think it's carrot, turnip, peas, green beans. So it's just a nice little mixed veg. These were 45p a tin, and Lidl do one. It's a slightly bigger tin, but it's about 95p. So my rationale with so much of this shopping is it's all about kids. And I don't have my own kids, but I have a lot of experience both as a paediatric nurse, a nanny way, way, way back in the day when I was 21. But also I have an ex. And when he and I got together, his kids were 3 and 5. So kind of, you know, my stepmom years. Kids, generally, in my experience, they will eat carrots and they will eat peas. You know, cabbage, too bitter, what have you. So I wanted to make sure I could get a load of vegetables that kids would eat. So a lot of this, because I've gone with tins, I'll have to show you at the end. I'll have to pull you all out at the end to show you what we've managed. Yeah, it's tinned produce. Can't do the fresh. Then so that was Tesco. Now we move into Lidl. 2 different pastas. One was 75p, one was 79. Which was this? Okay, so I got the shells were 79. The tubes were 75. Shells and tubes, because that's what kids call them. You know, starchy foods, filling, quick to cook. I've gone with white products, white pasta. I'm going to grab some rice in a second. The white stuff, partly because, again, it's that thing, it's back to kids. Unless kids have grown up right from the beginning on brown rice and brown pasta, kids quite often turn their nose up at brown pasta. So I've played it safe. I've gone with white. Also, it's quicker to cook. Show me a kid, I know one of you is going to tell me about your kid now, but show me a kid that doesn't enjoy pasta. And like I said, it's one of those things, you know, it's filling, it's warming, and it's so quick to cook. So also rice, white rice, again, white rice. I mean, it's kind of anathema to me to buy white products, but this isn't for me, it's for someone else and probably kids. So a kilo of, this was so cheap, a kilo of white rice, 48 pence. That's amazing. That's like half the price of brown rice. So I bought, again, 2 packets. I mean, I'm going to see all this on the table in a minute and I'm going to think, wow, I actually could live on this for more than a week, but that's just one person, isn't it? I think, now, just to say as well, the one thing this lacks, the one area this does lack is protein. I looked at all the pulses and chickpeas and I hummed and hawed because I just thought, you know, it all involves cooking. All involves that cooking time. I could have bought things like, they had sort of like bangers and beans and meatballs, tuna, all of those things. I could have bought meat in tins, but I mean, I've got to draw the line somewhere. You know, I can't buy meat. So, but other people will. There will, you know. So, like I said, it lacks a bit of protein, this purchase, but there's good nutrition. So, they're not all together. I've got to find them all. Oh, we've gone straight to pudding. Again, so this is what I mean about the Simply range. Some peach slices. These were 39p a tin. The next one up, not in size, but kind of like a quality, if you like, their own brand, I think was something like 95p a tin. Anyway, I've gone for these, so that I got 3 tins of those. They're in syrup, so that's a gorgeous, naughty, sticky pudding, isn't it? And it's a bit of fruit. That was kind of what I was aiming for. Can I get a bit of fruit into this week of diet? Then I also got, never mind all that, let's have some comfort. Rice pudding, 55 pence a tin. And you could make that do 2 if that was all you were having, but you could have your rice pudding and some the peachy bits. You could make that do 4 people. That's what we had when we were kids. So the rice pudding was 55 pence. All the tins are going to come out in the wrong order now. Hang on, that's another rice pudding. They're all still in the granny trolley. You're going to come out on the table and then go, oh my God, the granny trolley was so heavy. Tins are heavy. Carrying on with tinned veggies. How much were these? Sweet corn, again, it's another one that kids will eat. I hate sweet corn. I loathe it with a passion. Ugh, it's like zits on a plate. Sweet corn, so they were 47p. So I snaffled 3. A lot of these things I got 3 of for some reason, just to make the maths harder for myself as I was going around the store. I didn't do it on purpose. Then, what else have we got? Oopla. Okay, soups. Again, it's just thinking in terms of, if you've got a microwave, what's the microwave? 3.5 minutes in a microwave, or 3 to 4 minutes on a hob. It's quick to get a hot meal. And again, 1 tin. For an adult, would you eat a whole tin? I think 1 whole tin is a bit much. I'd be more like 3/4 of a tin. But I definitely think for, if you were dishing up for children, half a tin. Or maybe if it's 1 adult and 2 children, use 2 tins and the adult can have 2/3 and then the rest split between the kids. But yeah, so some cream of tomato, sorry, clonk clonk. Actually, all these soups are 49p, call it 50p. All the soups are 50p a can. So, yeah, oh, there's the other peach slices. More tomato soup. Also, a vegetable soup. But again, if you're doing this for your local food bank and you're, okay to purchase meat products, there was a chicken soup and there was a lamb soup. I didn't know, was it called chunky lamb or something? There's a lamb soup. Anyway, you could, there are soups with some meat in. I'm not sure if they were also 49p. I didn't look that closely. Oh, that's another rice pudding. Veg soup. Where are we? So the ones I got from Tesco, if you remember, that's mixed veg. There's turnip in there. I don't know whether kids would want turnip, but the grown-up could hoik the turnip out and have it themselves. So mixed veg. The carrots, little baby carrots. The thing about carrots and peas is they're sweet. So for kids' palates, that's better. So I also went crazy with peas. I think there's 3 peas as well. Did I get 3 peas? Yep. Got 3 peas. Did I say how much they are? Sorry, the garden peas were 53p a tin. So a lot of this stuff, it was all around sort of 50p a tin, or with the rice 50p for the rice. That's more veg soup. That's more tomato soup. And also, again, just thinking in terms of starchy stuff, I got tinned potatoes. I haven't had tinned spuds since I was at university first time around, since I was about 19. I quite liked them. Is that disgusting of me? So they were 65p a tin. But again, I was thinking, if it's all going to go flying, if you've got a steamer, you could be doing, you could be warming the potato. I mean, you can eat these out of the tin. You can eat them cold. That's the thing. But you could have these in a pan of boiling water, and you could be steaming something above them, or just chuck all the veg in according to their time into the same pan of boiling water. And maybe, if they've, in terms of protein, because that's the thing as well, a lot of the food banks, they don't have freezers. Some of them have chiller cabinets. Would they be able to then maybe, have a sausage and all their veggies? Anyway, I'm gonna supply the vegetables. So we're nearly there. How long have I been going on for? So this is what I mean about the super budget range. Where is this? So this is 440 grams. That's almost a tin. This is a pasta sauce. It's tomato and herb. What are the ingredients? tomato puree, tomatoes, and then it's got the usual suspects, dried onion, garlic powder, bit of salt, some herbs, etc. And this is supposed to be a stir-in sauce rather than... I was looking, just be careful when you're looking, that I picked up a few to start with and I realised they were bake sauces. So it's like add it to your pasta and bake it in the oven. I mean, I'm not using my oven at the moment. Goodness knows, you know, I don't think many people are using their ovens. So yeah, it's just another thing to think about. It's that cooking time thing. So if it's a stir in, so in other words, you've cooked the pasta, you just chuck this, just be careful, you chuck this on top and stir it through, and the warmth of the pasta and that warmth of the pan while it's still on the stove warms the sauce up enough. But you know, you could do your pasta, your tomato sauce, and then chuck a tin of peas in, or a tin of sweet corn, get a few veggies in there as well. Disguising veggies is great for kids as well, isn't it? Whether you're budgeting or not. But yeah, I think that's, you know, opt for the stir-in sauces rather than the sauces which need to be baked in the oven, or, like I said, rather than buying a tin of chopped tomatoes, where, see, this is the other thing, it's things like all the different additions, herbs and spices and salt and garlic and all those things we use to flavour our food with. You know, you could probably spend 10 quid just buying that sort of thing. So if someone's really, really broke, the chances are in the cupboard that maybe they've got some salt, maybe they've got some pepper, but maybe that's it. Maybe they've got nothing else to flavour the food with. So if they've got a tin of chopped tomatoes, it's just going to be hot chopped tomatoes on the pasta. So get it ready-made with some herbs and some taste that's been cooked in by the manufacturer. So there were 3 of those. Yeah, 39p. Amazing. We're getting there. Hang on a tick. So far, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2, 4, 6, 32, 4. So that's 34 tins and jars of things. 2 500-gram bags of pasta. 2 kilos of rice. I think that's not bad, actually. Then, I really hope whoever comes into the food bank on whatever day it is, I really hope they've got a microwave. A Christmas pudding. I mean, I'm going to get all weepy again. That was... How much is Christmas pudding? Where is it? Come on. Oh, yeah, here we go. So the Christmas pudding was £1.80, £1.79, £1.80. That's a lot of money, isn't it? I mean, in terms of my budget, that's nearly 10% of my budget. If I was doing this shop for myself, I wouldn't buy that. That's not needed. That £1.80, that would be 3 tins of chickpeas or whatever else. That's a luxury. But for goodness sakes, and this is what I mean about getting weepy, I'm perfectly happy to go without something like this at Christmas. I'm perfectly happy. I don't need it. But for someone else, you know, I mean, Christmas can be bad enough, can be hard enough anyway, can't it? So I just thought, you know what? Let someone have a Christmas pud. They need a microwave for it though, because I think you can do it in the oven. It says microwave 3 minutes. To steam it on the stove takes an hour. Microwave 3 minutes. So that amazingly comes to £20 exactly. But I did say I went over by 56p, didn't I? And it's the one food thing that is guaranteed to get kids to pretty much eat anything. I know that all of you parents out there have already guessed what it is, haven't you? Tommy ketchup, tomato ketchup. Oh my goodness. I mean, you know what it's like with your kid when the tomato ketchup is on the table, the kids will literally go, it's like you can't see the food for the tomato ketchup. So it's like, no, I'm putting the tomato ketchup on for you, a little squirt on the side. That's all you're having. Make it last. But yeah, I thought I've got to include tomato ketchup because, again, I think if I was a mum shopping on a really, really tight budget, I'm going to be thinking about the veggies, the protein, the starches. This can just, it doesn't count. This is what I'm trying to look to buy. But for the kids, they're going to love a dollop of tomato ketchup on whatever. They'll put it on pasta. Oh, tomato ketchup on pasta. Vile. My ex's kids loved tomato ketchup on pasta. Truly vile. But you know what? 56p. Brilliant. So, opla. I think maybe, shall I bring the camera? I'm going to bring the camera backwards a minute so you can see and it gives you an idea of what is possible with 20 quid. Hang on a tick. So that's our little lot. It's not quite all on screen. I've gone out at the side here. There's where the puddingy bits are, the peach and the rice pudding. But, well, you can see what I've managed. Quite a few, quite a lot of vegetables, good chunk of starchy stuff. Thinking about the speed of cooking, the ease of cooking, mostly it's about just giving it a quick warm through. A bit of a treat, of course. The Tommy ketchup, I think the tomato ketchup is genius, frankly. And yeah, I think a family could make good use of that for 1 week. However, like I was saying right at the top, with the food banks, it's not about one family getting one donation. This will be split up at the food bank. They'll put the rice in all the rice section, and then when someone goes to the food bank, depending on what's available, they might be able to get. There might not be any rice, so they might just be able to get a bag of pasta and one pasta stir-in sauce, a couple of tins of tomato of soup or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. The main thing is to just be able to get something into that food bank larder for someone who's struggling. Good, done for the day. Well, I'm going to put it back in the granny trolley now and get it carted off to the food bank. I'm pleased with that. It looks weird to me because there's no fresh produce, and you know what? It's just yet another reminder. I don't need reminding, though, of how grateful I am to have some growing space. And it's also been a bit of an eye-opener and a bit interesting for me to think in terms of, as I garden less and less, that's inevitably going to be the way. How will my shopping change? How will my eating change? So, for example, I haven't grown carrots this year anyway, but let's take carrots as an example, because they used to grow really well for me and abundantly. Would I buy a tin of baby carrots for 50p, or would I buy some raw, out of the ground carrots for, 50p or whatever? Would I consider, that's probably a bad example, here's a better example, the veggie soup, the vegetable soup. Would I consider eating tinned soup for 50p over buying different vegetables, making my own soup? There's the cost of 20-25 minutes on the hob, as opposed to 5 minutes of warming on the hob. Is that something I would consider? I don't know, I'm not in that place yet. But I think something I may do next year is into 2023. I might try this. Maybe this is something I can do and share with you, because I think these things are always valuable in terms of sharing. Is maybe I can try a week of eating from tins and packets. To do a weekly shop. How would I do? And of course it could be things like chickpeas and raw tomato, you know, tins of tomatoes, so I cook it into something as opposed to, you know, ready-made. I mean, maybe I could try a week of eating from tins and not doing any cooking, just do warming. And then maybe I could try a week's shop where I do buy more towards, say, ingredients rather than ready-made and cook it. And buying my vegetables from a supermarket, because that's going to be really weird for me next year, because I'm going to have to, because I'm massively scaling the garden back next year, getting ready to leave it. Anyway, I'm digressing a bit, but yeah, I've been grateful for this learning opportunity for me. I haven't had tin soup for years, but I'm looking at the cream tomato and thinking, I used to quite like a tin of tomato soup, so I might, in my next week when I do my shopping, I might stick a tin of tomato soup in, see how it is. But good, I'm glad that's done. Need to get it packed away and then think about what else I'm going to do with my day today. I'm going to get set up to crack into some sewing. So I will see you all again. You know what, I'm filming this. What's the date? I know the date because it's on my receipt. This is the 15th of December for me, but by the time you see it, I think it's only going to be a few days before Christmas. So the next time I see you, yes, this will be it. The next time I see you, I'm going to do my treats for a tenner. And we'll have a little, like we did last year, let's have a little up and down on my high street. Let's go and look at the shop lights and just see what's going on and get a little Christmas vibe going on. All right, lovelies, until then, lots of love, care, joy to you all. Please look after yourselves. I say it every time, but I mean it. Look after yourself. But more than that, let's look after each other. Goodness knows we need to, don't we? All right, lovelies, until the next one. Cheerio.